In this video, I'm going to discuss copyright and rights on the internet, which we don't always think about when we're surfing. If we go to YouTube, for example, there are a lot of different audio files and video files that we can find which are clearly under copyright, and the robust number of such long videos on YouTube may make it seem as though copyright doesn't exist even online. Most of us have heard about the idea that piracy is illegal, but maybe we're confused about what piracy or what illegal downloading or illegal use or what fair use definitions are. Here at Primewire, for example, this is a company that provides a directory of basically every movie and television show one would ever want to see, whether they're in the theater, whether they're on DVD, if it's a television show, if it just came out yesterday, if the new episode is still playing even, you might find it up here. My internet's a little bit slow, so I'm going to have to limit my number of examples. Here we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Let's let that load while we go look at YouTube. Let's search for example, what's a new, I'm going to look at Lady Gaga full album. And I bet we find some videos that are really just audio tracks. Lady Gaga unplugged full album, 55 minutes. Not too many from Lady Gaga here. 55 minutes. We could take this, we could click on this video, which is uploaded by Romolo Cruz, and then we could go to another site like KeepVid, and we could download that in MP3 format. So basically YouTube is providing people opportunity to illegally download software, or excuse me, illegally download songs and videos in conjunction with another application that allows people to store the files. So there was a famous case, Viacom v. YouTube, which discussed issues like this, where be it Lady Gaga or let's look at Led Zeppelin full album, certainly a lot from Led Zeppelin. Any band you could find, all kinds of long videos which are infringing in fact, but in that Viacom v. YouTube, they found that YouTube was not liable for all of these thousands and maybe even millions of infringing files. And that fell under what's called a DMCA safe harbor provision. And you'll find some information in the terms of service and things about that. Over here, back at Primewire, let's look for just a moment. So we have a directory, and this watch series is another directory more exclusively for television shows, of these other hosting sites, which are basically exactly like YouTube. They're called cyber lockers, or they're YouTube knockoffs, or YouTube copies even. And they all host file uploading services. So users will get a membership at the Video or Play2 or eStream or Vid2 or whatever, and they will upload their files much in the same fashion as YouTube. And then there are these other indexing sites that will come along and find the links and provide users with links to those sites so they can watch. And most of these sites allow just streaming. Streaming is kind of a gray area. Like the users of YouTube, I can go and listen to this without actually violating either the distribution or reproduction, although the person who uploads this is subject to DMCA liability. And sometimes when we click on these links, you might see it's been taken down. It's been considered a violation of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. But this one-at-a-time takedown system that they have under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act is obviously very inefficient, because as soon as one of these links goes dead, as soon as a complaint is served against one of these links, then another one can just go up. And the same thing goes for all of these movies and television shows, videos that we see in other sites here. And so as a user, the most important thing to remember is that copyright is the exclusive right of the copyright owner to reproduce, distribute, and economically exploit a work, right? So a lot of these sites here, like watch series, are free, of course, so users aren't paying anything in a lot of cases, and it looks like maybe this site isn't charging anything, but they are getting ad revenue. So these sites and all of these different hosting sites are technically in violation of copyright law, although it's incredibly difficult to prove that in court because they can claim safe harbor under the DMCA. So as users, a lot of people are going over to BitTorrent. Now what's interesting about BitTorrent is you're both uploading and downloading at the same time, right? I have here a game queued up so I can show that an investigator can go through, join a torrent swarm, and look at the IP of all people in that swarm. You can see I'm uploading and downloading. So at this time, for the purposes of this video, we're showing that BitTorrent is not only causing people to violate the illegal, or to violate the right to distribute or to reproduce in the download, but it's also violating the right to distribute in the upload, right? And there's no way to turn off this upload. So BitTorrent has tried to engage in mass lawsuits against people in these swarms, but those have not been very successful. There's an improper joinder issue, and so enforcement has been incredibly difficult up to this stage. However, for ethical reasons, it is relevant for people, especially young people, to understand that these sites, and even YouTube, are technically infringing. And regardless of what the liability might be for a user, it's important to understand that these rights owners did not acquiesce to this type of use of their right. This is not fair use to have an hour and 22 minutes of full album. Fair use is not even one song. Fair use is a part of a song. Fair use is going to be a part of a small snippet of an episode. And certainly, fair use does not include downloading entire songs, entire albums, entire episodes, entire movies. So right now, again, enforcement is quite difficult to navigate. The climate is international. Most of these sites are not headquartered in DMCA-compliant nations. This Primewire site has changed its name multiple times over many years. I've been watching this site for quite some time, doing research on it. It was letmewatchthis.ch and then onechannel.ch, and it's been primewire.to.org. It's gone through many different servers. They've relocated the servers on different national networks. You know, a company can just offshore to a Russian server. You know, they can get a shell office in Moscow, and they might not be subject to any liability. So the onus is really on the user at this point, if we want to save digital copyright on the web, to avoid sites like this and to call attention to the idea that these are in fact infringing. So it's a very difficult, very complicated issue, and it's worth considering. I mean, even though it's not technically illegal to watch movies in streaming format on something like this, it's definitely important that we're aware of what people's rights are, and even if they can't have a remedy for infringement, we should be sympathetic in some way, it seems, to the idea that they have rights and that they should be able to enforce them.